my great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Bill George. Woo! Thanks, Daryl. I didn't realize I was psychologically damaged. But that being said, this is only the third time I've ever done this. And I have been married for over 30 years to the same woman. So this is what happens after 30 years, guys, of marriage. Do we have any married people in the audience here tonight?
No.
Oh. How many years?
Going on 10.
Going on 10. Good for you.
Nice.
Good for you. Beat the odds. Beat the odds. Anybody who's engaged here tonight, by any chance? Oh, nobody wants to admit that, eh? Wait, you can't be married for over 30 years to the same woman and not pick up on a few things here and there? And you know what the biggest mistake people make? And it's not even before the marriage. It's on their wedding invitation. When it says, "Today I will marry my best friend." Oh, that's just absolute horseshit. My best friend is a guy, and I don't want to marry him. I watch sports with him. I work on cars with him. I watched Super Bowl with him. We just watched the Super Bowl, and it wasn't much of a Super Bowl, mind you. But at halftime, he gets up to have a piss, and he tips over my beer. And I look at him, and I says, "What are you, a fucking idiot?" Then he looks at me and says, "Blow me." And on the way back, he brings me back a fresh beer.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the best friend. That's the best friend. If your wife is your best friend, try that with her when she tips over your beer watching Super Bowl. What are you, dear? A fucking idiot? There's two things going to happen. You ain't getting another beer, by the way. And wherever you're sitting right now, that's where you're sleeping tonight. You can't marry your best friend. You just can't. If I had to get a wedding invitation in the mail from one of my friends that said, you know, "Bob, today Bob is going to marry his best friend," I'd be calling on my buddies. I said, "Did you know Bob and Jim were gay?" Because Bob and Jim are best friends. Right? You can't be confusing guys like that. It just doesn't work that way. And if it has been on your wedding invitation that you married your best friend, or you're going to marry your best friend, ladies, I'm telling you right now, your guy is gay. As simple as that, because you cannot marry your best friend. It just doesn't work that way. Do you know who I think who should have to get married? I think terrorists should have to get married. When they show up at terrorist camp, I think that should be the first question. "Do you want to be a terrorist? Are you married? Or you come back when you're married?" So they come back when they're married. And here's why. Remember a few Christmases ago, a flight was coming into the States, and some guy tried to blow up the plane he's trying to set something on fire in his underwear? Yeah, and he asked, of course he got caught and the passengers jumped him and everything, and they found all these flammable liquids stored in his underwear. That's why we can't take liquids on planes anymore. So when he got to court, he pleaded not guilty. Now I think, because he's now married, his judge should be his wife. So when he gets up, how do you plead? Not, "Oh fuck, it's the wife." Because we've all been through that, haven't we? You fuck up and you get home and she's just waiting there for you, and it's like,
Evil eye.
yeah, and you're like,
Evil eye. Where's the stupid?
you can't blame it on anybody because you just won't believe it. Now, after married for 30 years, you kind of think that your sex life diminishes a bit, and it does a little bit. But my wife and I were laying in bed the other night, and we sleep with the window open, and every so often we hear cats fighting out back, and they make an awful racket. But this one night, we couldn't even explain the noise. Now our son lives with us, and he's in the next room, and for some reason he thought Mom and Dad were having sex. And what it turned out to be was two raccoons fighting in our backyard. Now I don't know if you ever heard two raccoons fighting before, but it woke up the entire neighborhood. I went out back with a flashlight, and here's everybody else in my neighborhood just wondering, what the hell is that sound? Now could you imagine, guys, if you could make your wife sound like a raccoon while you're having sex? That would be, oh, when you got out the next morning, there'd be guys in your driveway like high five and you, "Oh yeah, all right then, all right, yeah. Oh right, Bill, atta boy, Bill, atta boy." All the women would be like, "You need to be friends with him and ask him what he's doing in the bedroom. You need to be friends with that man, because I want to sound like a raccoon." What a noise. But you got to spice things up in your relationship as well, too, when you're married for such a long time. My wife and I are on the couch one night, we're watching a movie, and we're snuggled into each other, and she whispers in my ear, I want to do something really kinky. Of course, my mind starts racing, and the first thing I think is, threesome. It's gonna be a threesome. My wife's got some hot friends. Now, she's got some friends that are not so hot either, so that could work both ways, right? But that's the first thought that a guy has. She wants to have a threesome. Wait, how long have you guys been dating or together? You're not? You're not? How about the married couple here? That's what we get for putting your hand up. If she wanted you to have a threesome to save the relationship, would you do it?
I'd ask her if she was drunk.
Oh. What if it was with another guy?
I'd ask her if she was drunk.
She asked me drunk again. Does your wife drink a lot, sir? Okay, she does. Well, it wasn't the threesome. It wasn't the threesome that she wanted, and here was the kinky thing my wife wanted to do. She said, no, that's not kinky. Isn't that normal? This was the kinky thing she wanted me to do, or wanted us to do. She wanted me to get my scrotum pierced. And I'm like, yeah, that's that thing that hits your face every now and again. Well, she asked her what it was.
And chew on your nose.
Yeah, so I went for the nose piercing, yeah. Yeah, so needless to say, I didn't get my scrotum pierced, because I just had visions of me ending up on that new TV show. Have you seen this one, by the way? Sex Sent Me to the ER? Oh, if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. It's my favorite new show. And my favorite episode so far is the lady who, after a 3-hour orgasm, had to go to the ER. Poor girl, eh? Poor girl. And after 3 hours, it finally stopped, I guess, but every day after that, 12 to 15 times a day, she would spontaneously have an orgasm. Oh, isn't that just horrible? Isn't that just horrible? She has more friends than any other woman on the face of the planet right now, because we want to find out why she's having all these orgasms. And the guy's like, it's me. I'm just sitting here just doing it. She's just looking at me and she can actually do it, so. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's my time. Thank you very much. And enjoy the rest of the show.